Jay Bills for Media Spotlight UK, and I'm reunited with the one and only Lauren and Alexis in the building. First of all, like seeing you, present in the ring. You've been doing a lot of stuff with CFN now. How are you finding, being in the pictures, doing that sort of role?
It's fun, and I think some of the fighters tonight I knew personally because I've worked with them on multiple different events now with CFN. But even outside of that, the new fighters, they're all so lovely to speak to, and I think this event in particular, I didn't have any problems with nobody wanting to speak. Everyone had something to say. Even the main event, the guy was laying on the floor. We still got some words out of him. So things like that make me happy because sometimes people don't want to speak, and I completely get it. But when they've won their fight, I want to know what's next for them, and so do the audience. So it's something that I'm there, and my job is to get that answer out of them. So when they don't speak, I'm kind of like, I can't answer.
I know how you feel because there might be times where I'm interviewing somebody, I'm like, there's only so much I can grasp out of you, but it's just like I'm trying my best to get the energies right. So I guess for you, you're learning on the job in terms of like, giving that energy out and then reciprocating it back.
Yes, exactly. And I think my energy in the ring is going to really reflect on how they, like the attitude they give me and, just the energy that they give me. If I go in the ring and I'm like, oh, how did you find it? Like, they're not going to want to speak. Whereas if you've got to have confidence, you've got to give them some nice energy, happy, and, you're excited for them. And I am. Every single person who won in there, I'm excited for every single one. Even the girls that drew. I'm friends with Amber myself. Brooklyn, I only met, I think, like 2 days ago maybe, but both great fighters. And that was a fight that I didn't honestly think was going to be a draw. But
I was quite shocked myself.
yeah, I really thought the win was going to go to Amber, but it didn't, and that's fine. And I'm hoping I'll see a rematch in Singapore.
Well, I mean, speaking of which, with, you being, I'm seeing the Misfits world that's been happening at the moment, some of the women fights that have been happening, obviously Elbrook versus Paige Van Zandt, what did you take away from that? Because that was a big fight.
It was a big fight, and I think Elle did absolutely amazing. That was a draw, of course, and there will be a rematch, I'm sure. But that fight was... Elle did so well, and Paige has been in the fighting scene for longer than I can even remember. And for Elle to take on such a tricky opponent and have such a challenge, I think she did really well, and I know she's happy with how she did as well.
And I've got to talk about the announcement that was made like a few days ago with KSI versus Slim and Anthony Taylor, the 2v1. I mean, what are your thoughts when you heard about it? What were your initial thoughts when you heard the news?
I kind of heard it like bit by bit. But I honestly just think JJ's going to knock both of them out of the park. I've got no doubt with that.
Okay, because of course, obviously, with two opponents, credible opponents like Slim and Anthony Taylor, they've been wanting that match with KSI for so long. How do you see it in terms of them being able to, work together in order to, if they were to get the win from their side?
I think they'd have to work very closely together. They'd have to basically be best friends, and I honestly can't see that happening. So
I mean, Slim made it clear that he's not going to tag like Anthony Taylor in, but as far as rules I've heard that they're going to have to tag in and out per round.
yeah.
So that's what I'm hearing so far. So I mean, hearing that, like, how do you think the dynamics will work out in that respect?
Honestly, I think it's just going to be awkward and quite bitter between the two. Like, God forbid they have to share a changing room. I hope not. I just can't see them getting on at all, even for the sake of trying to beat JJ. But I just can't see them beating him, even if they were the best of friends.
So, I mean, for you, like, we've seen you on the scene, like, for quite a few years now. You've been invested in the influencer boxing scene. I mean, what's next for you as far as, like, working with CFN? Is that the future that you're looking at? Like, Misfits, CFN, what are you looking at?
There's a few other promotions that I've been in talks with that I can't mention now. Okay. However, presenting is something I'm going to continue doing, and I'm not going to be stepping in the ring, put it that way. I'm not going to be fighting any.
I remember I asked you a few years ago if you'd be stepping in the ring, and it's quite evident that the role that you're doing is literally just being behind the scenes and being invested in the scene, and that's what you're looking at, right?
Exactly, and that's what I find most interesting, and I there's not anything that would make me get inside the ring. I just don't think that's something that I in general would do.
And finally, like, what projects can we see from you in the future? I mean, obviously there's ones you can't announce at the moment. Is there anything outside of boxing that we're looking at for you right now?
I just worked on a short film with another influencer called Ezekiel the First, which was really fun. It's called Elliot's Story. I invested in it. We made episode 2. He made episode 1 himself, and that's doing really well. So we're going to take that a bit further, make a few more episodes. And we've had a full production on that. It was like a 2-week shoot. There was so much pre-production. It was a very quick turnaround. But that's all going well. So that's something I'm working on behind the scenes as an executive producer, which is fun.
Wow, that's crazy. So, you're building up your repertoire even further. That's a lot going on for you. So if there's anything you want to say to your fans out there, anything that fans can expect from you in the future, you can tell them right here.
I just love you guys lots. Thank you for the continuous support, and make sure to keep checking out what I'm doing and like what I have coming. It's exciting.
Well, Lauren, it's always a pleasure to see you every time, and I wish you all the best for future gigs that you got, and yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, and it's lovely seeing you as per usual.
Always.